talk about Formula 1, and the Indian Grand Prix is here. The stage is set and the clock is fast ticking down to the start of the second edition, the much awaited Indian GP. After the inaugural edition proved to be quite a success, signs are season 2, with the BIC receiving some much needed facelifts, will only be much better. More so since the season is far from sealed, with both the drivers and the championship titles up for grabs this weekend. Here's a special preview of what we can expect from the race.
Fast and furious, glitz and glamour, and a cocktail of high-octane action and undeniable need for speed. As the curtains go up for the second Indian GP, the F1 caravan is all set to queue up on the starting grid and showcase their speed and might at the revamped Buddh International Circuit.
The Indian GP could be play a critical role in deciding the championship end of the year.
As far as I could hear from other drivers, everybody enjoyed driving on the circuit. For me, it will be the first time on Friday, so I look forward to that.
I enjoyed the weekend last year. India is obviously a very special event for us, given what it means to our team. So hopefully we can put on a good performance.
With both championships wrapped up by the time Formula 1 arrived in India last year, there was only the race victory to battle for. But it's an altogether different equation this time round. With just 4 races remaining and a mere 6 points separating the top 2, it looks to be a straight duel between championship leader Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso.
The Ferrari has no business to be at that place because it's clearly not the fastest car, and obviously Red Bull seems to be getting stronger and stronger. So from a sportsman point of view, from the way Alonso is driven, I would like him to win the championship, but you know, it's going to go down to the wire to Brazil.
While it will be hard to look beyond Red Bull and Ferrari, further down the field there will be plenty to keep an eye on, particularly how Force India, Narayan Karthikeyan and Monisha Kaltenborn's Team Sauber fare in their home race.
So the stage is set, the teams are here, and the drivers are ready. One surely can't wait for the lights to turn green to set in motion Season 2 of Fast and Furious. With camera person Madan Prasad at the Buddh International Circuit, this is Achin Tadan for Headlines Today.
Well, we surely can't wait for the cars to zip across. Kannan, last time round, the BIC received the thumbs up from majority of the teams and drivers. This time they've done the necessary facelift. The dust issue seems to be sorted out. Clearly now, everything is set for a cracking race.
Well, I think when you go to a Formula 1 track, you're going to complain about burning rubber or smoke and dust. It's not on. But I think there's a lot more greenery around this time, so it should be better. And do not forget that last time they got the complex ready just a few weeks before it, and I think the dust was there. And from construction side, the track, they've got this new cleaning equipment and so on. So I think it'll be far better. Now we've got to wait and see if the crowd response is going to be as good as it was last time.
Arman, last year the crowd response was whopping. We saw over 95,000 people there. But this time round, the title is still not decided. That could lead to a much better race, because we know there's a two-way race in the Drivers' Championship with just 6 points differing the top 2.
Yeah, we keep emphasizing on this, and you have to keep repeating yourself, because it is a fact, and it is going to be really exciting. I've said this before, and we keep talking about the top 2 drivers, that's Vettel and Alonso, who've had a brilliant run through the season, but I guarantee that the championship is still wide open for 4 drivers, for at least 4.
And the changes that have been made, do you think that's going to make the experience much better for everyone?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to increase the overtaking opportunities, because last year when there was so much of dust, you couldn't go offline. As soon as you go offline, you had no grip, and you saw people going off when they tried to make a move. For example, Massa and Hamilton. But this year, like I said, the track is there's a lot more greenery around it. It's a lot more cleaner. It's a year old, so a lot more things have happened. Definitely more overtaking. You have a 1.2 kilometer straight to get your DRS and the curves, and get a good slipstream. Get behind the other person and make a dive into the hairpin. So you're also going to have a lot of in and out moves. One diving in, the other guy trying to get a good line and get the exit right, and get past him again. So I think it's going to be a really exciting race, not only in the front but right through the field. Something to really watch out.
Well, hearing you, Arman, I can tell you the speed enthusiasts can't wait to see those mean machines get out there and zip across the BIC. But clearly, like we've been talking, 2 outstanding drivers and 2 of the most celebrated motorsport stars in the modern era, Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. Both champions will be going head-to-head in that royal face-off at the BIC this weekend, and the impressive records on Asian circuits especially makes this a battle to look forward to. Check this out.
Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso, drivers par excellence.
Let's have a look here. Fernando Alonso to the run to turn 3.
Unmatched potential and a heady list of achievements that have adorned the sport of F1. The duo will be the cynosure of all eyes as they look to consolidate their chances of winning the prestigious overall Drivers' World title by storming into the top podium at the Indian GP. A world title that has graced the trophy cabinet of Sebastian Vettel in the last 2 seasons, and the 25-year-old German would be aiming to become the youngest triple world champion.
Infrastructure and transport.
Not surprising, since Vettel hails from a country that has given F1 some of its best drivers, led prominently by 7-time champion Michael Schumacher. Having already proved to be a worthy successor to Kaiser Schumacher's glittering throne, Vettel is ready to override challenger and title contender Fernando Alonso at the BIC this weekend to stamp his supremacy. As the German attempts to retain the Indian F1 GP title, he's set to face stiff competition from the Spanish veteran Fernando Alonso. The two have fought several battles over the years, and since 2007, their contests have been enthralling to watch. Though since 2007, it is Fernando Alonso who has finished ahead of Vettel in 18 out of 35 races. But it was Vettel who pipped Alonso by 4 points in one of the closely fought F1 World Championship contests in recent memory in 2010. But it's in Asia where Vettel has ruled the roost, winning 13 out of 35 F1 races since 2007. The region certainly doesn't seem to be Alonso's favourite, with just 8 wins out of 35 since he and Vettel started sizzling on the scene together. This year Vettel has emerged as a strong candidate to stamp his class on the Asian circuit, winning 4 out of 6 races, with Alonso winning only the Malaysian Grand Prix out of 6 races that he has competed in. Clearly Alonso has a lot to think about if he wants to realize his and Ferrari's dreams of finishing on the podium. While the rampaging Red Bull led by Vettel's metal will be hoping to explode on the BIC this weekend, the onus will be on Alonso's acumen to deny the German his second consecutive Indian F1 GP title. Sports Bureau headlines today.
What a contest that promises to be. Arman, last season we saw Vettel become the youngest to get the F1 Grand Slam when he got the pole position, when he won the race, when he got the fastest lap in red. Every race of the Indian GP, he surely knows what to do on this circuit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year he pretty much dominated the championship. Saying that he had the right package for Red Bull was really dominant last year, and both him and Webber were kept, challenging for wins and fighting for the championship. But yeah, he clearly outpaced Webber at the end of it, and sealed the championship before half the season was over. But this year's a bit different. The other teams have caught up, and 8 races, 8 different winners. That says it all. That's why I say the championship is still wide open, and anything can happen. 2010 when Vettel won his first championship, he was third in the championship and didn't have. He wasn't really a contender, and next thing you know, after the last lap, he was celebrating. So we just have to wait and watch. It's really going to be a real bullfight to the finish, and see who comes on top.
Kannan, your thoughts there? Vettel, obviously, there were different winners in the first 7-8 races, but then Vettel has won the last 3 races: Singapore, Japan, Korea, and he's traditionally done well in Asian circuits. So will Vettel get the better of Alonso here?
I think I'll go along with Arman and say that you can't just pin an F1 race down to just 2 people. I think there's a pretty open look about it. You've seen the way the season's been, as you said, 8 different winners in the first 8 races. It's been up and down, topsy-turvy. I would agree that Vettel's in top form and closing up the gap beautifully. But I think from Friday to Saturday pre-practice to qualifying, we'll get a fair idea about it. But I think this is the best race the Indians could have hoped for. Last time when they came, the championship was sealed, everything was over.
Sure.
It was just the novelty value of watching an F1. But I think you've got the real action happening there. Do not forget you've got your own Narayan Karthikeyan. And for me personally, Michael Schumacher, last time I'm going to see him race.
Well, Schumacher's last race in India, that will be a huge run. Of course, Narayan, as Kannan mentioned, will be something again Indian fans will be cheering. And talking about Narayan, the chorus for including a native Indian driver in the Force India team is now getting louder by the day. A day after Narayan Karthikeyan expressed a shock and awe at failing to repeatedly make the cut at the Force India camp, none other than the 2008 world champion Lewis Hamilton has said that Narayan should get a crack with the SFI team. Take a listen.
To Narayan, I think he's doing wonders hopefully for the country, and of course he does not have a good car at the moment, and that's very, very similar for some of the other drivers. You know, they don't have the opportunity to do what we're doing in these great cars, but it doesn't mean that they're not great drivers. And I think Force India have been growing and doing better and better every year, and they're doing fantastic this year. So I mean, if he got a drive there, that'll be a huge stepping stone for him. And yeah, I think that would be great. You know, to be for me to be a British and in the British team has been very positive. So I would imagine it would be the same for him.
Karan, Hamilton, they're making a very valid point. As a British driver, he's obviously enjoyed great success in British teams. Do you think the time is right now for Narain to get into Force India? Especially considering there's a lot of talk about Hulkenberg and Paul di Resta possibly not staying in the Force India camp because of the Kingfisher crisis.
I think the only thing about Force India is the name, you know, because otherwise everything there is a foreign outfit. Of course, Vijay Mallya, well, he's an Indian. But if you look at anyone from the person changing the tires to looking after, you know, the engines or whatever technical, and Arman will agree. But I think Force India is just the name, and he's got the Sahara title ahead of it. But I don't think they've ever looked at any Indian driver. When he started his team, he promised, he even talked of, you know, Karun Chandok being his son. But I think it's like stepson treatment. And no Indian driver, Arman, is also here. I think the three Indian drivers who are there, none of them has ever got a look. Forget even a driver's seat, not even a test driver's role. So I'm really not convinced about the appeal which Hamilton has made, though I like it.
Arman, your thoughts there. Clearly, an Indian team for an Indian driver would help you guys also get your sponsors, because much of the money for the team can come around from the Indian market, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great package and it's a great way to, you know, sell something, you know, but for the country it's superb. And I mean, as a driver as well, it will be a dream come true, I'm sure, as what Narain said as well. And it's great to see Hamilton supporting that. But yeah, Force India have their own plans. They've always had their own agenda and their own way of going about things. Yes, they've got their results and they're doing fantastically well with that. In that perspective, a big respect to them. And they do have two good drivers, but we'll have, I mean, like I said, they have their own plans, and we'll have to see whether they finally do look at Indian drivers.
Well, I'm sure fans across the country will be hoping that Force India can get an Indian driver. If not Narain, maybe Arman very soon there when he graduates from F2 to F1. But gentlemen, many thanks for joining us this morning here on Fast and Furious.